there was a shelling. There was a shelling not far from me. It was announced that there was a Russian Special Forces unit, and there was a fight very close to my house. It's also announced that this group, this unit is destroyed. So this is the information about what's going on just around my building, not far from my building. Yesterday, my daughter, my younger daughter, called me and asked whether it's necessary to go to bomb shelter. I said that it's very improbable that Kyiv civilian building would be shelled. Now I do not have connection with her, so I hope she is in a bomb shelter. So that's for you and for all other viewers and participants to understand what's going on and how do we feel about that. So let me, I will not go in for Russian arguments. Maybe I'll talk to that later. Maybe I'll start with what the West is doing. The sanctions that we are introduced are very belated, very belated. If the West introduced these sanctions in 2014, 2015, 2018, or even just several months ago, then perhaps we could avoid what's going on right now. Unfortunately, the West didn't want to do that. I do not to put responsibility on some specific countries. Everybody knows position of their own governments in this situation, but this is the reality. So very unpleasant for me to say, and very unpleasant for me to say that we are alone in fighting. I mean, militarily, we are all alone in fighting. Again, we appreciate the support that we are receiving, but we don't think this is enough. I hope 5,000 helmets which we received from Germany are helpful, but now we need much more. And we cannot stop Russian cruise missiles because they are using cruise missiles against Kyiv by using the helmets. Sorry to say about that. The West and Ukraine actually did everything possible to prevent the war. We know all the statements of Zelensky, who claims that he was ready for negotiations. We know what Chancellor Scholz, President Macron did, having this shuttle diplomacy between Russia, Kyiv, and the West. And what is the reality? It's good that they tried. But in reality, Putin is humiliating not only Ukraine, trying to humiliate not only Ukraine, but also the West, including Chancellor Scholz and President Macron, who did so much. And in reality, what Putin says, I don't care about what you're doing. I don't care at all what you're going to do. So I think that definitely, yes, yesterday, I believe yesterday or the day before yesterday, Ukrainian president said, asked for establishing no-fly zone over Ukraine. It's not introduced. SWIFT is not disconnected. According to the information, this is because of German position. We feel very, very frustrated. But at the same time, we continue to fight. The idea, at this point, there's no major city, no major Ukrainian city which is seized by Russians. They were rebuffed around Kharkiv, Chernihiv, Sumy is under heavy attack. At this point, they are not seized. Kherson is not seized. But in Kiev, we have very dangerous situation because we know that they are trying to move into the city. And now there is a fight near Vyshgorod, which is actually very close. It's 10-minute drive from my building. The idea of Putin is clear. It's not about NATO. It's not about Donbass. It's about conquering the whole Ukraine and installing the puppet government in Kiev. That's the idea. Regarding Zelensky and his political rivals in Kiev, they are united right now. The parliament voted for the state of war by a constitutional majority, by the way. At this point, Zelensky is doing what he can. He is saying right things, the decisions are right. To say that we were prepared for the war, no. There were mistakes, but we will discuss it. There were serious mistakes, but we will discuss it later. So now it's important to continue our defense. Thanks. And we are waiting for, it's not only about the West, it's about Turkey, close the straits, at least, because Russia moved the naval vessels from Pacific to the Black Sea. Now it's already a heroic story about Ukrainian bodyguards at the Snake Island who seems to die all. And fine, only after that, Russians invaded the Snake Island. So Russia behaved in a Nazi way. Germany is talking about its responsibility after World War II for what have been done in World War II. Now it's a responsibility for what's going on in Ukraine. Please send this message to your governments. Now it's a responsibility of the West, of the bloodshed which is going in Ukraine. Moreover, we know that if Russians occupy Kiev and install the puppet government here, they would conduct so-called denazification. I would translate it. It's kind of concentration camp. A lot of my friends are telling me to leave the city because they suppose that I'm on the list. I don't know. Maybe I'm not so important. But judging from what Russia introduced in Crimea, in the occupied Donbass, we may only guess what they may do here with all these KGB methods. And please remember that Putin is KGB. He's not only KGB. He doesn't behave like Brezhnev. He is behaving like Hitler. Germans, please hear us. I'm sorry if I am a bit emotional, but actually, this is all the sad things which we need to tell you. Thanks.